going on. But now, let's get you up to speed on the Alison Feldman case. Ian Mitchum. Now, awaiting the jury's verdict, and here's what got said yesterday in the courtroom in downtown Phoenix.
He was confronted about DNA being at the scene, and he asked, how did it get there? You tell me. He told the detectives over and over that he didn't know how his DNA got there. He did not know her. He had not been to her house, and he did not kill her.
Mr. Kirchler referred to the DNA in this case as a red herring. Exactly what you expect coming from the person representing the man whose DNA is all over this house.
The bleach removed iron from the scene goes both ways. Equally could have removed from the scene.
And what I want you to consider is that when Mitchum chose to commit these crimes, he picked Alison, a 31-year-old female who lived by herself, who was alone on the night of February 17th. And by doing so, he ensured that there would be nobody there to witness the things that he did to her.
All right, so closing arguments as a kind of an emotional day, honestly, when the prosecution is laying out its case in a story that these jurors now have been listening to for several weeks, and frankly, in a case that had gone cold for some time, but is now front and center in the headlines, and it all has to do with the murder of Alison Feldman in her home more than a decade ago. We wanted to bring Josh Kolsrud on. He joins us this morning, prominent attorney here in town. Hi, Josh.
Hi, how are you doing?
Really good. This is one of several cases you've been keeping your eye on. Tell us right now kind of what your take is on how it's all been going down.
Well, this is a case that captured the nation's imagination. It was the first case in Arizona where authorities used the genetic genealogy technique in order to solve this cold case. And there were some issues with it, and the issues were appealed and went all the way up to the Arizona Supreme Court, who eventually ruled that the DNA evidence would come in. Now, that's crucial because in this case, Ian Mitchum's DNA was found in 4 or 5 different locations inside of the home of the victim, including a doorknob, the sliding door, a beer bottle, and other places. And this is significant because there's no connection between Ian Mitchum and the victim. And so the defense really, if they're going to win this case, they should have created or explained an innocent explanation of why his DNA would be there. I'll give you an example. When I was a prosecutor, I had a burglary case, commercial burglary, where there was a piece of DNA later found 5 years later on a broken piece of glass. We were able to later identify the DNA to a certain person, and we went to trial. And, I was able to win that case as a prosecutor by saying, look, there's no innocent explanation why this person's DNA was on this piece of glass when the burglary took place. And that's essentially the same thing that were happening here. But the defense didn't do that. All they said was that, DNA is just circumstantial. It doesn't tell you how it got there or when it got there or the circumstances of why it got there. But still, there wasn't an explanation of why this person's DNA is in her house, not just in one location, where there might be an innocent explanation, but all over the place, places where you would expect a burglar to be in a burglary gone wrong. Plus, there were items that were stolen in the house.
Do we know how, and this is how they came to know one another, or where they think they came? He's accused of this crime. Obviously, we're waiting for the jury to come forward, but how they met?
Yeah, so the defense has submitted to the jury that they actually didn't know each other, but they lived in a similar area, and that it's plausible that they came into contact at some point in time, and that through touch DNA, the victim had his DNA on her and then transferred it to her house. Now, again, that's plausible for maybe one location in the house, but not multiple locations, including a doorknob and a beer bottle, a sliding glass door, and on the floor, all around where bleach was used to try to clean up the crime scene.
You know, we've chatted with you in the past, and wasn't it her father who lives in a different state in the upper Midwest somewhere who saw that familial DNA was used in a different case in his state, and then he brought it to the authorities, and he said, hey, can we use this?
Exactly. And, that was the Kohberger case.
Yeah.
So just to remind viewers, the Brian Kohberger case was the Idaho case where Brian Kohberger killed in cold blood 4 female college students, including one student here from Arizona. And they found DNA at the crime scene that they couldn't match in their database. And so the FBI created a profile on Ancestry.com and other places, and were able to, create a family tree around the DNA. And that's how they were able to locate and find Brian Kohberger in that case.
But Josh, in that case, they also have his pings on his phone.
Sure.
That place him right there. They also have video from a gas station of that white vehicle of his leaving Moscow, Idaho, and heading back to Pullman, Washington. They don't have those kinds of things in this case.
No, they don't. But those identifications of Brian Kohberger and that vehicle came after the identification of who he was. So they worked backwards. They found out who he was. They worked backwards then instead of forwards.
Right.
They said, okay, he was in this area in a white vehicle. And that's why the white vehicle was there. And that's what the defense is actually saying in this case.
But wouldn't that be so helpful, though, in this case to prosecutors if they had one image of him on one camera a block away or 6 blocks away?
It would, but I don't think they need it because...
And back in 2015, was that even something that we did as much?
Yeah, really.
We're Ring cameras? And things like that.
Good point.
I feel like in the last maybe 6-7 years, we've just seen this huge spike in people purchasing cameras or seeing them on streetlights.
Sure. Well, they did have the triangulation with the cell phones back then to the cell towers.
Yeah.
But you're right. You didn't have the low-cost cameras that are widely available as you do right now.
Okay.